So this is a great little lesson for working, starting to get these fingers up. Start getting these fingers to work, the tapping hand of the four fingers. So I play on two different strings. I actually play pretty much, I play hammer-ons obviously when I ascend. When I descend I play a variety of hammer-ons and pull-offs. Hammer-on, 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 pull-off, hammer-on, pull-off. Obviously I'm playing that hammer-on here because I'm shifting strings. So it's a pretty cool little lesson. This, what I would say, would be the fourth and final step in the whole thing, or at least four. So the first thing I would start to, if you're complete new to this, I would start to actually work on even though it's not the tapping, but start to getting these fingers working without the pick, so hammering on without starting. A lot of people have to, I guess including myself, but I've been doing it for so many years. When I start a phrase, starting with a hammer on is kind of a weird thing for a lot of people. So I start here and do these hammer-ons. So I start each string with a hammer-on, and when I pull off, I obviously don't. When I pull off, I never use the pick. So if I play just a scale, I would just I don't use the pick, and so what you need to do is to get that finger individuality, or whatever you want to call it, to work. Of course, something that also plays a big role in this that you don't think that much about is you really need to clean up everything, because even if you're fast with this hand and you can get sound out of each note, if you have extra string noise at the same time, it'll never sound good. So you need to, obviously when I'm not using this hand, I can focus a little bit on keeping the low strings. In this case I'm playing D and G string, and what happens, you may not have thought that much about it, is that at least the index finger is muting the high E string and the B string. So what is, in most cases the problem could be the low strings. And if I'm playing, with a pick here, for example, you can see that this palm can kind of mute it down here. So the top strings are getting muted by the remaining of these fingers, and then the low strings with the palm. So excuse me, that's the first part here. So once you're ready to start working on the other hand, then what you could do actually is to start getting these fingers to work, because thinking back then when you started playing guitar, just putting the fingers, especially if you have to hammer on, pull off with this hand in the beginning, was pretty much impossible if you think back. So if you've never used, maybe you've used the index finger for tapping, but if you have never used any of the other fingers, it's not a bad idea to just get the other fingers going. To get some kind of feeling for the string into the tapping hand. Then you can put the thing together where you're doing the fretting hand, and then add one tap in the beginning. Once you can get that to sound good, then start by just playing two notes. So that's a big thing, being able to do that. And you can actually before you do the other thing by going into the next string, you can also just maybe play around with this, playing like a little scale, and then before you attempt doing the next, the more advanced thing. So the final step, or the next step, would be to just add one extra note here, one hammer on. So that'll be hammer on, hammer on, hammer on, hammer on, pull off. It'll take some time. If you are new to this, don't be discouraged if it takes a long time. And then the last one, it'll be hammer on, hammer on, hammer on, hammer on, pull off, hammer on, pull off. So, once you're ready to play something like this, you'll see also that there's no limitations as to what you can do with this technique. I do really strongly advise that you don't start putting dampening devices on your guitar. The reason for this is not that it doesn't necessarily sound good, but the reason is that if you do it, you don't learn to mute the strings. So I strongly advise against that. So if you really want to learn to control the guitar and get some kind of string control, you'll have to stay away from that to become good at muting the strings, whether you're playing with a pick or you're playing tapping that. Because one of the most important aspects of playing the guitar, the electric guitar with distortion, is to be able to use is to be able to mute the strings, because I've seen guitar players that could play really fast, but they couldn't mute the strings, and then it just sounded really bad. It didn't sound good that they could play fast. It just sounded like noise. So really stay away from the dampening devices. So that's my advice to you. And make sure that you download Tablature for this, but also you can get my free guitar technique programs, also link under the video here, and also check out my music on Bandcamp. So see you.